Hey guys, welcome back. This one's gonna be a bit of a short video. So this is the bowl off of the carburetor that was originally, actually this is a second carburetor we put on, but this is all full of gunk and stuff. And the float sticks, so it likes to dump fuel into the engine without it actually running. So that's why I added the fuel shut off, because then it just doesn't allow that. But then over time, it evaporates out or gets put in, it disappears. So what I'm gonna do actually is, this is the carburetor originally off the motor. And as the float looks a lot cleaner than the float that's actually on it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna take this float out. So what you're gonna do is just pull that pin. You just wanna pull the pin. Hold up. It's a little complicated with one hand. So after you're gonna pull that pin, as soon as you pull it all the way out, it's gonna drop. I would have caught that if I was actually gonna keep it, but I'm not keeping it, so I don't really need it. This carburetor is literally the exact same thing. You just take that pin out and then boom. So what you have here is you got yourself the float. Hold up, the float, and then you got yourself, it dropped in the dirt, I'm going to have to clean it. And then you guys got yourself like a needle. So what that does is this needle sits right in there, and then that shuts off the fuel when this float gets up so high, so that way you don't overfill it. And then the float goes down, lets a little bit of fuel in, and then it closes. So this looks way dirtier than this float. This float's all white and it's got like a brass. This one's just all plastic. So I'm gonna try to put this float on and see if it works any different. So that's the new carburetor in, or new float I should say actually. So it's basically simple. You just put the needle in that hole and then you push the pin through. And then you can kind of see when it goes up, the needle goes up and then it stops fuel. When it comes down, the needle comes down and lets fuel back in. So that's basically what that does. And then this is the intake, and then it sucks in fuel there. So this hole right there, that's where that needle goes through, and then your float sits around, and then that pin gets put in right through that hole. So all you do is you put the bowl back in like so, put the 2 screws in, and then that's it. It is a bit of a job to take these bowls in and out without taking all this off. So what I do is I grab myself a 1/4 wrench and then the appropriate bit thing. And then I also, one side's a lot easier, so you could use a screwdriver on the left side. But on the right side, you just put this like this, and then that's what you use. It's really simple. A little bit more on how this float works. So in this pin, there is a little bit of a notch. You can kind of see that. So obviously that would not go in that way. So it doesn't matter which side, but you just gotta put it in the right way. And then what you gotta do is, in that hole, you gotta put this needle, hold up, this needle in that hole. But obviously you're gonna want that attached to this float. And then when that float, so before you do all that, make sure it's attached. But I'm just showing you, so it'll be okay. And then you're just gonna put the pin through, and then went ahead and I just put that needle on that float. So then you're gonna take your pin, put it through that hole, and then you gotta kind of get it to line up, which it's a bit of a pain, especially with one hand, but you do get it lined up. And then when your carburetor sits down like this, that float comes down And then when that float gets a little bit of fuel in the bowl, it's obviously gonna, from going down like this, it's gonna take that float and then push it up. And when it gets pushed up, it shuts your fuel off from getting into the bowl. And then once a little bit comes out, it goes back down and then goes back up. And then it just changes and it keeps it. And then these are your jets. These are your intake right here. And that's honestly kind of how my carburetor works, which you guys might be some of the similar. The same depending on what motor, but